This is every character in Surprise Cameo in the And I can't even lie to you, Matt Shakman, Kevin Feige, and everyone at Marvel Studios assembled a team of remarkable people, and they gave us something fantastic. And I'm letting you know right now, we really got some insane surprise cameos that have me looking at the screen like Leonardo DiCaprio. I am going to be talking in full spoiler, so if you don't want to be spoiled, here's your chance to get up out of here. So if you're still here, this is your choice. But either way, me and you know what we got to do. We got to talk about it because it's Feige's list. He can't miss. Let's start off with the biggest surprise cameo in the entire movie, and no, it wasn't a nihilist. That's just me being a masturbator.
Gotcha, bitch!
But anyway, boom! Man, you know what? Doom! You looking for this? And to quote Okoye in Black Panther, without question, the biggest surprise cameo is the Doom cameo in the mid-credit scene. Now, we didn't actually get to see Robert Downey Jr. as Doom. We just got a back shot of Doom cloaked up, mask off, talking to Franklin Richards. And as you're watching the movie, they give little hints and teases at Latveria. So I feel like all roads were ended up leading to Doom anyway. But now it begs the question, is this actually Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom? Huh, those little crumbs, I'm about to make a full course meal. Just wait on that theory. He really pulled up like Syndrome in The Incredibles.
The baby's sleeping.
I'm gonna give this cameo 5 big dooms. Doom, 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 doom. Another surprise cameo was Paul Walter Hauser as Mole Man, aka Harvey Rupert Elder. And I say surprise because they released this image before the movie even came out. And also, if there was ever a person that just looks like a Mole Man, it would be him. And if you read the Fantastic Four First Steps prequel comic that came out, you get more context on how this version of Mole Man acts. But speaking of Mole Man, we finally get to see Giganto in the MCU. And he was a huge bitch. And no, it wasn't this scene from the Little Caesars ad that everyone was freaking out about. It actually looked dope as fuck. And it was paying homage to this classic comic cover, which the prequel comic did in and of itself, of Fantastic Four #1, which features them fighting Giganto. Now, the only thing that's crazy head place. Now, the only thing that sucks is that we didn't get to see any of the Moloids, even though we went into Subterranea. And fuck it, while I'm here, fun fact for you. Did you know that Tim Blake Nelson was supposed to be Mole Man in Four Sticks universe? They gave him a different last name, but he was Harvey, and there was a bunch of stuff that happened in this movie, like him getting his face deformed, that were definitely planting seeds for him being Mole Man in a sequel. Sequel? Are you sure about that? But at least he got to be, this. Moving on, John Malkovich was supposed to be playing Red Ghost, but his scenes were unfortunately cut. It is a visual, therefore a visceral betrayal. Stop it. But we did get to see one of his Super 8s fighting Reed Richards. Reed Richards really squared up to Maurice from Planet of the Apes and lived to tell the tale. And let's run through the gamut because they actually mention a bunch of classic Fantastic Four villains that we never see, like the Mad Thinker, the Wizard, you're a wizard, Puppet Master, and the devil Latino himself, Diablo. The final fun surprise cameos was the original cast of Roger Corman's 1994 Fantastic Four movie. They each appeared throughout the film as inhabitants of this retro-futuristic 1960s. And these are the kind of cameos that I love because they're cute, adorable, and not just jingling keys. Put some respect on Roger Corman's name. We also get a cameo from director Matt Shakman's daughter, Maisie Shakman herself. She's one of the kids that Johnny saves towards the beginning of the movie, which I think is just a cute and adorable thing to do as a father in a movie that's really about family and being a parent. Moving on, we have the devourer of worlds, the purple planet eater himself, Galactus. And oh my goodness, was he immaculately brought to life and scale. The Galactus head was heading. The back shot were backshotting. And the voice was voicing because Ralph Ineson got that fucking chill-inducing voice cut from the same vocal cord cloth as Barry White. Every time he spoke, the theater seats gave me an ass-cracking back massage.
Yeah, hence.
But you can't forget who heralds his beginning, heralds his end, heralds Galactus. Because Shia LaBeouf's Silver Surfer is the best Silver Surfer put to live action. I don't care, I said it, because it's the truth. And Julia Garner, who, by the way, if you want to stop her,
you're gonna have to fucking kill me!
Brought just enough of that stoicism but emotional heartbeat to the Silver Surfer that was dope as fuck. And she was riding the fuck out of that board. I know what you're probably thinking, Sammy, would you? And the answer is, fuck yeah. Moment of weakness, moving on. Because rounding out the cast and cameos, we got Marvel's first family, Pedro Pascal playing Reed Richards, who actually brought something to the role that I wasn't expecting. In the sense that I was expecting him to feel more like just Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards. And yeah, at times he does feel like that. I think he nailed every other aspect that is required of a Reed Richards type character. Very analytical, cold, and calculated at times. But at the end of the day, he does what he needs to do to save his family. And he loves just as much as the rest of the four. I love that this movie actually challenges his intellect. I've seen a lot of people saying that he makes dumb decisions, but I just don't see that. It can't be worse than Wanda. Black Bolt can kill you with one whisper from his mouth. Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman, is the definitive version of the character. I don't care what anyone says. She was perfect. Strong, independent, the core and anchor of the four. She's the one that keeps everyone on the straight and narrow, and she is that motherly figure for not just Franklin, but everyone else. And she gets some of the coldest line deliveries and speeches in this movie that just had me inducing chills. Plus, I love the way that her powers look. It's visually distinct from everything else we've seen before. But here's the thing, and he was perfect. The big ass unibrow, The fact that we had Eben Moss Baccarat cousin playing him, it's easily some of the best motion capture and visual effects work in the MCU. And although he was a bit sidelined compared to the rest of the four, they nailed every other aspect of his character because remember, Jack Kirby created the Thing in his image. Not so much in his image, but more so in like his experiences in life. But he was just, mwah, chef's kiss. Yes, chef. What time is it, Ben? It's clobbering time. But the one who shocked me the most was definitely Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch. Easily the best iteration of the character put to the big screen. And to be fair to Chris Evans' Human Torch, who was still very charismatic and had some of the funniest jokes, he didn't get as much to work with as this version of Johnny. Not only are all his dynamics with every other member of the four perfect, they show you just how brash, arrogant, and hot-headed he is at times. And yes, he is still somewhat of a womanizer, but they add this other layer that's been touched upon before of him trying to prove himself and his intellect. And he loves just as much as every other member of the four. Like at the end when he says, "Tell Franklin his Uncle Johnny loved him." Flame on! Flame on, kid. Flame on. And of course, we have one of the most powerful Marvel characters of all time in Franklin Richards in this film, and he's played by Ada Scott, who's like one of the cutest babies ever put to the big screen. And I'm not gonna hold you, I would be like the dude that peaked in high school. If I was this baby when I grew up, I would just be flexing the fact that I was the first ever live action Franklin Richards. But last and most certainly not least, we have humanoid experimental robot B-type integrated electronics, Herbie. And not only did they let this bot cook, but Matthew Wood voiced him illustriously. He basically just did some of his Clone War droid stuff. And all I know is we need to start the Grammy campaign for his lullaby song in the movie. But either way, that was the main cast, characters, and surprise cameos in Fantastic Four First Steps. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And as always, like and follow for more. Matt Shakman did confirm that the Russo brothers directed that scene. But the very interesting thing about this is that I'm still not sure if Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom is the Doom from their universe, because throughout the movie they had hints and teases at Latveria, and there was always an empty seat when they were at like the Future Foundation summit hearings or whatever. Every time we saw the Latveria thing, everyone in our audience was like, ah! So if media literacy isn't dead, I think we're supposed to assume that he's from their universe, 828. But as to why he looks like Robert Downey Jr., we still don't know. And we still haven't seen Robert Downey Jr. as Doom yet. We just got a back shot of Doom's cloak talking to Franklin. Now, the interesting thing about involving Doom with Franklin off Ripsky is it feels like they're trying to speed run the rivalry and dynamic between Reed Richards and Victor Von Doom. Especially if they are from the same universe, they could just give us some type of expositional scene in Doomsday explaining that, you know, they've been rivals for a long time on Earth 828. Because honestly, if we were leading up to Secret Wars and they're taking any type of inspiration from Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars, them not having the rivalry between, like, the core of that conflict between Reed and Victor Von Doom is going to be a miss. Oh yeah, by the way, this is something that I sort of called like a couple months ago when I made this YouTube video. So now I'm starting to think I know how Doom is going to end up being God Emperor Doom in Secret Wars. I initially thought that they were going to be adapting Children's Crusade in Doomsday and he would team up with the Scarlet Witch, who has, you know, reality warping power. But I guess they're definitely going to keep her dead for the time being. What better character to use than the omnipotent fucking mutant Franklin Richards himself? So now I'm starting to think that Franklin Richards is going to be taking the Molecule Man role from the Secret Wars run. I had theorized that I thought maybe it could be Sentry since he's known to manipulate molecules in the Dark Avengers run. But I still think Doom's endgame, or Doom's doomsday, is to get to Loki's throne